So I did some looking into ivermectin today, the history anyway. And you know what? It goes back to your same old type characters, which is the problem we're facing now. We're facing in 2020. It's the reason why there's not been anything big that the science has discovered. Well, I shouldn't say that. They've discovered things. They've just have chosen to keep those things from the public. Yes. But that's why there's no cures. It's because of the people involved, just like the same people now. The United Nations, the World Banks, and your military type people. Yeah, with the science. With all the most immoral people all together. So back in the 70s, early 70s, there was this outbreak, outbreak of what's called onchocerciasis, or onchocerciasis. It's not just a skin thing. It is a skin thing, but it's a whole bunch of other things too. They refer to what onchocerciasis is river blindness. And yes, people went blind, but they had like leopard legs. Because they would get these skin conditions, and basically what it was parasites. Yeah. So ivermectin is what took care of all that. And then the reason it's been put under the category of wonder drug. Now, when I say this, please remember all those people like Chris Cuomo, but many others that said, you got people around the country taking horse dewormer. Yeah, because it did start with vets using it. Yes, it did. But then they discovered there was way more that it could be used on with humans. That's why it's considered a wonder drug. Yeah, that part Chris Cuomo and CNN didn't tell you about that. All of this is straight from PubMed.gov, by the way. I actually pulled two articles, one from 2017 and one from 2011. The one from 2017 is ivermectin, old drug, new tricks, meaning it's constantly being found to be the answer to so many other things that it can be used for, like preventing things and just a bunch of things. It's safer than aspirin. So you could look at it like, well, why wouldn't they want to use that because, they told us how dangerous ivermectin is. Oh, no, too dangerous, No, the reason they said that is because there's no money to be made on it for Big Pharma. That's the problem. Yeah. Because it's been around forever. It's been studied forever, been research. There's no money to be made by Lucifer using it. So they need to have their brand new nonsense, which doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot of good, but who knows? I don't know what it is they're using nowadays. Just going to leave it there. You know what I mean. Maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. I'm tired. Let me move on. So by 1973, onchocerciasis had been recognized by the then head of the World Bank, Robert McNamara, as a major disease of massive health and socioeconomic importance, and one in dire need of combating in West Africa. And he became the key agent for change. Oh, he sure did. He sure did. Robert McNamara has quite the history. He was Secretary of Defense under Lyndon B. Johnson and Kennedy. And then after that, and he is the architect. They consider him the architect of the Vietnam War. Yes. In fact, and he kept the war going, which pissed a lot of people off. But it wasn't until years later, after the war was over, that he came out and he wrote some book wanting to get a bunch of people to buy it, of course. He said, we were wrong about that. We were wrong. And so there's been a lot of Marines that have said, so our brothers died in vain because of you. They lay it right at his feet. He then went on to be the president of the World Bank. He headed up the World Bank, and he brought in all your think tank kind of stuff, your policy analysis stuff. Yeah. Just a totally immoral person. And not because of that, but because of, the Vietnam War, this, and if that isn't enough to convince you. By the way, he went to Harvard, he didn't. He went to Berkeley, University of Southern California, Berkeley, I think, yeah. But he was a professor at Harvard. Yeah, remember, I said Harvard and Yale, those two big ones. It just seems like everybody out of the Pentagon, everybody out, all Harvard, Yale. Keep saying it. So he had made a statement that he was addressing some group back in the late 70s, early 80s, and he was complimenting India on how they've addressed their population problem. Yes, in quotes, population problem, by using forced sterilization. Yeah. Okay. So if that's not enough for you, then to tell you just an immoral person. So that's who was handling this, along with, it doesn't end there. In 1974, following international recognition of the dramatic consequences of disabling and disfiguring onchocerciasis in Africa, 4 United Nations agencies, including the World Bank, so there's all your problem right there, well, nothing good will come out of it, launched the Onchocerciasis Control Program in West Africa. The program covered 1.2 million, protecting 30 million people in 11 countries from river blindness. Yeah, well, not before a bunch of other stuff, because, see, all these people were money hungry. That's what it is. I mean, obviously, back then, there could be something made off of ivermectin, and what they found was that ivermectin could do so many things besides take care of this, which it did take care of this river blindness, which is why in Africa you can buy this over the counter. But remember how they told us here that, oh no, it's so dangerous, yeah, and then decided to, have CDC and Department of Health and Human Services all in bed with Twitter to silence the people that were trying to speak up about it. Yeah, so keep trusting the science. They're just so trustworthy. What's really interesting even more, well, before I move on to one of the scientists, is, so one of the things this was found, ivermectin was found in Japan, and it is a positive, gram-positive bacterium, back then when it was found, an unknown species of streptomyces. So, one of the wonderful things that it does, where's that? I think most people by now know that it kills cancer cells. Yeah, it would have been nice if people here in America would have told us that instead of telling us, no, it's a horse dewormer. Okay, so it's passed so many safety, like it's like the safest drug on earth. It is. It says here it has been used for symptomatic severe muscle spasticity in people with spinal cord injuries, river disease. It's been used for the eyes, for nanomolar concentrations in the eyes. It's been used on a wide, broad range of different viruses, diseases, avian flu. And then it says here, more recently, ivermectin was shown to induce intracellular chloride flux in human leukemia cells in vitro. This was associated with an increase in the production of intracellular reactive oxygen species, leading to cell death in the leukemia cells, but not affecting the normal cells. Because of this, it was suggesting to be a promise as a cancer chemotherapeutic, and think that this was all the way back then, and they have kept it from us. I wonder why. Maybe because the science isn't so ethical. That's why. Let's just not beat around the bush. Let me just end with this. These are the same people that are involved with the science and everything going, is why we have all these problems, because all unethical. The United Nations, the World Bank, your World Economic Forum, with your corrupted, immoral science. So one of the scientists involved in this was Andy Crump. He was born in the UK and graduated from universities in the UK and USA. It says here that his initial biological research work in the USA focused on cold tolerance and supercooling insects, funded by the National Science Foundation as part of an investigation of the feasibility of freezing and reviving humans for possible space flight. Just makes me think, hasn't Elon Musk been taking people up in those little short trips in his spaceship? Yeah. So maybe it's all the people that know they need to get out of here as fast as they can. Walt Disney did freeze his body so that one day the science could revive him and he could live forever. That's what the Bible means when it says, don't conform to this world. They conformed.